This is a skill builder to show you how to use the basic elements Thread Zap. And what this does is it is a heating element that will cause thread to either mushroom if it's like, for example, a thread like FireLine, or it can also be used on natural fibers to just kind of singe or burn the ends. Nylon threads, for example, also. And what it will do is it will either on a thread like FireLine, for example, create a mushroom. And that's what I'm going to show you in today's skill builder, but it will also just kind of burn the excess of a piece of thread that's sticking out from your beadwork. Another use for it that I've seen and that I've tried personally is you can use it for things like Chinese knotting cord to kind of burn each of the sides to make the end a little bit less foldable. So if you're using it to thread or string beads, that's another thing that you can use a Thread Zap for. This particular one is very cool because it is rechargeable. And right out of the box, what you'll get is there's a charging cable. You will need to get a block that you can plug a USB port into. But other than that, it comes with everything it needs. The cable is included. You plug the cable in on the back. You can plug it into one of your blocks and then into a 5-volt. And then it charges relatively quickly. The light will be red while it's charging, and then it will turn green when it's ready to go. It does come with a replacement. I don't want to open this because I'm going to keep this nice in the packaging. It's a sealed bubble wrapped package with an extra one of the little heating elements on the front, which looks just like this. And when you want to replace and remove those, you just pull these out and put them back in. One of the really cool things about this that I really like is I've used a lot of thread burners, including some that are rechargeable, but they don't always have a safety button, and they can be depressed by accident, either in your travel bag or even just on your desk if you set something on it or set it in the wrong direction. But this one, you can press the button and it's not going to work until you actually flip the switch. And that is really cool. It also gets red hot. A lot of thread burners just aren't this powerful, particularly the battery operated ones. They might get red hot for the first, couple uses with a fresh battery. And then after that, it just gets warm enough to do the job and doesn't necessarily do a red hot finish, which is really handy for things like what I mentioned with the knotting cord. But I'm just going to go ahead and turn it on and show you. So you see how that's getting red hot? That is really cool. And so, like with all tools that are creating heat and could be a fire hazard, you want to make sure when you aren't using them or when you're storing them that you just put the cap back on. In the case of this one, it has a vented cap, so you can put it in there hot and it is ready to go. So let me show you how to use this. I'm going to start with the FireLine trick. So we've been doing this a lot in a lot of our tutorials as a way to add thread. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces of sample thread so I can show you what fusing looks like. I'll just get another one here. And again, this is just some 6-pound FireLine. This trick that I'm about to show you works really well with FireLine. It does not work with Wildfire or things like the KO or any of the nylon threads like 1G, Miyuki Beading Thread. It's really better for just for FireLine. And I'll talk a little bit about bead weaving stitches after I show you. But so let's say this is your old thread. It's getting short, and here's your new strand. Just tie a basic, like you're tying your shoelaces, double knot. So there's my double knot. Okay. Tighten that double knot. And you'll have something that looks like that. And when you start to pull these 2 threads apart, what's going to happen is the threads are going to pull apart like that. So this is where the thread burner comes in. I'm just going to go ahead and do that one more time. We're just tying an overhand knot, or sorry, forgive me, tying a shoelace knot, but it's a double knot. And this time before I pull it, I'm going to take these tails. I'll just burn these ends. So again, flip the switch. And when you burn the ends, do it kind of at a perpendicular position, and you'll get these little, see how it kind of mushroomed it? And now when I pull these 2 threads apart, the knot forms. And it is a very strong knot. It's not a super small knot, but I have had no trouble getting this knot through size 11 seed beads if they're Miyuki seed beads. I think with a smaller than a Miyuki, so for example, a 15-0, or if you're working with any Czech seed beads in the 11-0 size, the ability to pull one of these knots through gets a little trickier. But one thing you can do, let me grab a beading needle really quick. Maybe just demo that. When working with a small seed bead, and I'm going to grab some 11-0s. I'm sorry for not having those ready. Okay. So some 11-0 seed beads. When you get to the spot where these seed beads have to cross over the knot, sometimes when I'm doing beadwork, I will help it over the knot before pulling my stitch. Because sometimes with stitching, you can loosen your beadwork. Herringbone's a good example of that. And with a herringbone stitch, I would finish the stitch, and then before I do the step up through the 11-0 or step down, I would actually just kind of help the bead over the knot. But as you can see, it's sliding over easily, not too challenging. And even with a 15, it will still work. It just needs a little extra assistance to get over the knot. So that's something to think about. So the stitches you can use this trick for certainly works with peyote, herringbone, any of the stitches basically that'll work, with the exception of brick stitch. So with brick stitch, there's one exception, because when you try to pull this knot under other thread, it's just going to adhere to that thread and it's not going to pull underneath it. So with brick stitch, the knot will get in your way. It'll get caught. And the only way around that is you have to go down between the beads and get the knot through and past the thread before you pull it up in a brick stitch. So thinking about that, and then just really small beads, but those are the limitations. So that in a nutshell is how to do that. And then I was going to show you really quickly with some knotting cord. Let's see if I can find a little bit next to me here. So this next thing I'm going to show you is with the caveat that it could potentially gum up the tip of your thread burner. So truth be told, when I'm doing this, I have a backup thread burner that's kind of like my one that I use for the dirtier jobs, and then I have one that I keep super clean for my pretty threads. But what this does is I'm going to show you how to string a bead onto knotting cord and kind of create a needle using your thread burner. You could also like switch the tips, you know, and they do self-clean, but it will consume a lot of the charge in your battery because you have to run it for quite a while and then stop and then run it again. But they do sort of self-clean when you heat them. But I'm just going to show you what I mean. So you see how I'm kind of just burning along the edge? And if I flip it over and just very gently, because keep in mind it's getting super hot. There we go. I just run it. There's a little skill to that with, you know, the speed. But look how I kind of created a needle. So this is kind of similar to like if you were to put glue on the end. And now when I want to string my beads, I've got a little needle there. And just to show you the tip of it, it didn't get too bad. So, yeah, didn't really get it dirty that much, but over time it would. All right, so one other thing I'm going to show you is, let's say you wanted to try and join some nylon thread, size B thread, for example, like KO. That requires a tapestry knot, but you can still use your thread burner as a way to get the ends of the little, there's a little sticking out parts of those knots that you can get those real close to it. So let me show you that really quick. It's a little trickier knot. All right, so this last knot I'm going to show you is a little trickier, but not too much tricky. And again, the thread burner in this case is not performing so much of a role in, you know, making the knot secure as it is in just getting the ends gone. But this is going to be just like a basic join knot for KO, for example. You can use KO, Miyuki, 1G, Hana, you know, all those things. So on one of the cords, you're going to need a lot more leftover working thread to do this, because you need to be able to form two knots and join them. But there's just one start of a knot. And I'm going to lay that out like that. And sorry, it's jumping around really quick. And I'm just going to set my tool on it to hold it in place while I work the other one. So I'm going to use a different color just so you can see them apart. So what you'll need to do with the other knot is you're going to want to bring it through the loop on the first one. And then bring it over the previous thread. And then you're forming another circle knot basically with your basic circle knot like this. I'm going to make sure it's visible. Hopefully the yellow isn't. I might need to switch to another color, but you see that? I've got that like that. So it's another circle knot and it's joining there. And then here's it tightened up a bit, but you can see the other end of that thread is going through my first circle knot. So tighten the circle knots on both sides. So I'm tightening this side by pulling both of the yellows and tighten this side by pulling both of the brown. It's a lot easier to do this with two colors because you can really kind of see what's happening. And now when you pull these together, they're going to go right together like that. Okay. And now you've got a pretty solid knot. The only thing is if you pull really, really hard, notice how short my little tail got here, you can pull these knots apart because the nylon thread is so nicely coated. But if you want, you can try to get them as far to where they're not pulling apart anymore. So right now I'm pulling pretty hard because it's going to waste a bit of my thread on the brown side. But get them to where they're not really sliding too much. If they're still sliding, just stop when you get to a point where they're not too long, because it is going to waste a bit of thread. Cut it with about 2 millimeters or so on both sides, each of these little tails. Okay, and now the thread burner gets to come in and show off another little trick. So burn that side down a little bit. Okay. And then on this one, its little tail, you just need to get it so that it's sticking out. Whoop, where'd it go? There it is. Okay, you can always do it this way. Just don't want to burn my finger. That's probably good enough. Okay, so you just want to get it so where it's sticking out, right? And we're going to burn it right up to the knot. Try not to burn any of the other elements of the knot or the thread. You just want to get that tail singed right there. So the singeing of that most of the time is going to make that knot pretty strong. So now you've got 2 KOs joined. And I was just thinking, hopefully that made sense. I'm hoping the yellow thread wasn't the wrong color choice. I have some blue, but it's just not really super different. But we can try this one more time. I'll show you with blue, just in case that wasn't clear, and I'll watch it later. Let's trim that one off. Okay, again, just a good old, like you're tying your shoes knot, making a loop like that. Set that down for now. And now let's get the blue thread. Ooh, this might have been a new one. Let's see if I can find the tail. There we go. Okay. And then with this one, what I usually do, and I mean, it really doesn't matter as long as they're heading a different direction, but what I usually do is I let my first one just head to the right. And then I'll bring my new one heading in from the right, heading toward the left, making sure it goes through the loop. And then I'll bring it under the other thread. You got to pull in enough to do this. And then just go ahead and tie another little circle knot. But you got to make sure this new circle knot encompasses the other thread. There we go. So I got through like that. In fact, I think you can even tighten that one down there if you want. That might make it easier. Okay, so going around it and then through. Okay, and now we're going to tighten the blue side. Sorry, and not just, there we go. Okay. And you just want to tighten the blue side. There we go. And I was able to get my tails a little short at that time. So you see when you pull them together, now you have this great knot here. But these annoying tails, and this will start to pull a little tighter. See how I'm getting it shorter and shorter and shorter? It reaches a point where it stops sliding. Yeah, and usually one side ends up being a little longer than the other. But I bet if you insisted on it, you could pull them apart. So that's where this comes in handy. Just gonna burn those tails. So even though this kind of thread does not mushroom enough to really make the knot stable, it works enough in this case to make this something that works. I just want to caution that this is not as strong of a knot as the FireLine one. It's I had one of them come loose once, but it's rare. I mean, look, I'm really pulling on that. So in normal bead weaving, I mean, your pull strength on that's going to be what, like, I don't know how strong I am, but it's strong enough for a normal beadwork, I would say. And so that is how to do those. So hopefully you will love this new tool. I've found that this one is actually remembering to turn it off, my favorite one. And I've used a lot of thread burners, and I enjoy using thread burners. They're one of my favorite tools. And so take it from me, I like this one a lot. And I think some real R&D went into developing it. And I am in deep admiration for that effort because it was well done. All right, so thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in our next beadwork tutorial.